Moving on to the discovery call. So I genuinely believe that sales are won or lost during the discovery call. And the biggest mistake that I see across lots of agencies, even software companies, even those who are doing demos, is they start the discovery call or the demo call and make it all about them and their company. Or they show a deck which shows all the logos that you've worked with. And that's not where you want to start. I like to think about it as if you are a doctor. And if a patient came into your office or surgery and said, "Hey, doctor, I have a headache," you don't know why they've got this headache. You don't know what medicine to prescribe them. So you're going to ask them questions to try to understand what could be the root cause of that headache. Are they dehydrated? Have they changed medication recently? Are they jet lagged? Are they just tired? Did they fall over and crack their head? There are lots of different reasons why somebody might have a headache. And your job is like a doctor is to ask the right questions to uncover what the root cause of the problem, the headache is, and then only then do you prescribe them with the medication. In your case, it's explaining how Clay can how you can help them with their outbound motions, with their revenue operations, whatever the service is. So if that's the biggest mistake people make, then how do we avoid making that mistake in the future in future discovery calls? So I like to start every discovery call off with a little bit of small talk, and then I quickly move into an agenda. And the agenda really is just it's as short as saying these next three sentences. So um, thanks for joining today. The main purpose of this call is really just to find out about the challenges that you're facing at the moment and then determine whether we're the right people to help you. If we can help you, I can go on to explain the solution. And if I can't help you, I'll let you know and maybe point you in the right direction if I feel that there's somebody else I can connect you with. Any questions before we get started? So that's all the agenda needs to be. But by doing that and setting the agenda, you're letting the prospect know that you're going to ask them questions about them first. Then there's not going to be some sort of hard sales tactics to try and convince them to work with you. And you've also given yourself an out that after the first, 15, 20 minutes of discovery, if you realize that you can't help them or they're just not the right fit for you, you can kind of end the conversation there. I personally like to continue having a conversation. If I've got 30 minutes in the call, but I realize after 10 minutes that they're not right for me, I will still do my best to help them and point them in the right direction and use up the rest of that time because it was booked out anyway. Just because I believe in kind of giving things without expecting anything in return and paying things forward. So that's my personal approach. You don't have to take that approach. So the first part of any discovery or demo call should really be about understanding their needs and understanding where they're trying to get to as well. Focusing on the cost of inaction. So if they don't solve this, what will happen? What does it mean to them? You also want to understand, what have they done so far to try and solve this problem? What other options are they exploring? Are they speaking to other agencies? Are they trying to build it in-house? And then what is their decision-making process as well? Now, this part of the discovery call will take a good 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes. But it's really important that you understand how they're trying to solve their problems so that when you present the solution in the future, in the next part of the call, you can tie it back to everything that you've learned. So when people are giving you their answers, it's really hard to actively listen as well as to make notes and ask the right questions. So I always try and listen out for a few different things on any call. I'm listening out for numbers because they're just quite easy to remember and to note down. I'm also listening out for emotions. So if they say it's frustrated or it's a pain in the ass to do this or they're worried about X and Y, these are key things that I try and list down. And then also outcomes. So if they're saying the actual outcome or what they're trying to achieve, I will also note those down as well, because those are the three things that I really need to help build up a business case when I present the solution. So we've done the initial discovery, we've asked questions, we've asked probing questions to get down to the root cause. Now we want to present the solution. And this might be that you share your screen and walk through, what this typical process could look like. If it's more of a consultative approach where you need to go away and kind of plan how you will solve that problem for them, you can just explain what your process is and that you'll need to do an audit, then you'll need to prepare, and then you'll need to present them with a final proposal. It's okay to share indicative pricing as well if you're able to, but don't ever feel forced that you have to if you don't have that information to hand. And then another thing to remember after you've presented the solution, you can try like a soft close, or you can try other sort of closing techniques, which are a little bit more hard close, which is like, when would you like to get started? But you always book a meeting from a meeting, regardless of whether you've presented the whole pricing and the proposal on the call. Get another meeting booked in the calendar. The majority of the times that people ghost you is because they just don't have a reason to actually follow up and let you know what their decision is. So I find that always having a meeting in the calendar, even if it's a few weeks out, ideally as closely as possible, but if it's a few weeks out, there's more likelihood that you'll get an answer, whether it's a yes or no, because people just are really flaky and they ghost people all the time, which is very frustrating. A lot of people think in sales that the worst answer is no, but the worst answer really in sales is no answer whatsoever. So yes is the best answer, no is the second best, and then not hearing back from a prospect is really annoying and it's the worst answer. Moving on to, I've just got two more points before I kind of wrap up this part, is a post-call follow-up. So another mistake I see a lot of companies make is that they do not personalize their follow-ups and they don't send the follow-ups quickly enough as well. I was on a call with somebody who was talking about YouTube and SEO optimization. I told that person on the call that later in the same day, I have another call with a different service provider and I want to look at, both proposals together. The first person I spoke to, didn't send me the proposal for 3 days, by which point I had received the proposal from the second person and had made a decision. So that is happening to your buyers as well. So make sure that you are responsive. You are following up as quickly as possible with as much information as you can. If the person on the call during the discovery call has described, okay, let's think of a good example. So if you're doing outbound sales campaigns and someone says they want to book more meetings, or somebody else describes as they want to increase their pipeline, whatever that outcome is and whatever they said, use that language in the follow-up email. So if the person said, we need to book more meetings for the team, then you want to say, here's how we can help you book more meetings for the team. This is called mirroring. It's an NLP technique, very old school, but it also shows that you've listened and you've understood and you get them. And that's what people are ultimately looking for. They want to feel heard and understood. And by repeating the information back to them, you're demonstrating that you've done so. And then lastly, objection handling, which we won't have a lot of time to go into on this call. Just a real simple framework that you can use to handle objections is the LRQR, which is hard to make a word out of. But the first thing you need to do is listen to the objection and actively listen. Then you want to rephrase their objection. And you might say that as in, so if I understand that correctly, you're looking, the concern is X. Then you want to ask a question to explore what the root cause of the objection might be. And then you want to prepare a response as well, once you've got that additional context too. So that was everything I had in terms of the presentation part. I think we did pretty good on time. David, Marcus, where do you want to